What's the dumbest thing you've ever done because your brain was on autopilot? Drove towards my job when my friend asked me to hang out. I've done similar. Had a week or two straight where it was pretty much wake up, go to work, go to bed, repeat. Finally finish the project and have some time off. Wife wants to try a new restaurant for lunch and finally spend time with me, so we pile the kids in the car and go. It just so happens that the first leg of the trip to the restaurant was exactly the same as my commute, so I just went into autopilot. I didn't realize until I was halfway to work and my wife asked where exactly the hell were we going. I normally only see my neighbor when I arrive home from walking my dogs, so I'm holding the dogs on leashes as I greet the old guy next door most times and have to tell the dogs to come along. One day I dropped the dogs off inside my place and headed out to bring the bins in after collection. See the neighbor and exchange greetings as per usual. As we finish I turn to the bin and say back quote, "Come on, let's go." Shaved off an eyebrow. Was shaving my chin etc and my eyebrow got itchy, so I scratched it with the razor. I did the same dumbest mistake, except on my nose. I cut myself, but luckily it wasn't deep. Just made me feel stupid. I had made a tea with ginger chunks, but found the ginger to be too strong, and I wanted them to go, so I grabbed a strainer and proceeded to pour out my tea in the sink with the ginger chunks in the strainer. Took me a second to realize what I've done. Tried opening my front door with my car key unlock button. Came home with a friend. Started undressing as soon as I closed the door. I've done something similar. I went to take a leak and, just like I would when I'm alone, didn't bother to close the door. I'm standing there still talking to them and then realize wait, I'm not alone. My buddy does this. Answers the door stark bollock naked. Come on in man. I'll pop the kettle on. Just gonna take a shit here. Proceeds to sit down on the toilet, so how's life? Started a new job. Got to my old workplace before I realized what I'd done. Not exactly the same, but sometimes if I'm off on a day I usually work and I go to hang with friend or do errands, I find myself taking the same route to get to work. Just recently I was talking to my friend and got on a topic about something that I had been looking up on my phone. Started to search for my phone so I could send him the link. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was talking to him while walking from room to room, looking everywhere, checking my pants pockets, looking in the weird random places I've left it before. Eventually I told him I'd send it to him when I found my phone. He reminded me that I was talking to him on my phone. Same thing happened to me. Dude, I can't find my phone. Do you remember if I had it in the car? What are you calling me on? Okay, thanks. I drove to work one morning, promptly forgot, and then took the bus home, leaving my car in the parking lot. Not me, but my husband called me from work BC he forgot to put a shirt on before leaving, and could I bring him one, please? There he was, just wearing a jacket. Evidently he tossed it on to go start the car in the cold and never took it off. Eater, runner up goes to the time my daughter went to school and forgot to put on underwear in 2nd grade. Yeah, of course she was wearing a skirt. We live 30 minutes from school and she realized it just as we pulled into the parking lot, and I marched her into the nurse, who grabbed out an emergency stash of granny briefs labeled with the school's name on them in big black Sharpie. She's 18 now and still mortified when we bring it up. Once I was sick and not thinking too well. A package delivery person rang the doorbell. Me, not thinking, got up from the couch, walked up to the door, and knocked on it. Then I opened the door to a mildly confused delivery man and took the package. It wasn't until I had closed the door, box in hand, that I realized my error. I work in healthcare, so I knock before entering a patient room. I can't even count the number of times I have opened the door to a confused waiting room of people after knocking on the waiting room door. Recently I was trying to microwave some popcorn, and instead of putting the popcorn packet in the microwave I put in the plastic wrap and proceeded to press start. I did not realize what I had done wrong until I looked down at the popcorn packet and thought something's not right here. 2 and 2 got put together before anything nasty or disastrous happened, thankfully. I wanted to refill my cup with more water, so I just poured my already half-filled cup out on the table to make room for more water. I had a similar experience, but it was more like I reached out to grab my cup, but my hand had ulterior motives and just slapped the cup over. Hard like water went everywhere. I had no intention to do this, but I did. I got up and took my 3 nighttime meds, 2 sleeping pills and a rather sedating neuromed instead of my morning meds. I had an instant where I thought maybe I could go to work. But then wisdom prevailed and I called in sick. Scanned a customer's groceries, removed the dividing bar from my register, began scanning the next customer's groceries. When I was a truck driver, I drove 200 miles down the wrong freeway and had to turn around and drive 200 miles back. I never told my dispatcher and he never caught it. I did that once. Unfortunately, I had to tell my dispatcher of my mistake as it threw off the rest of my loads for that day and made it impossible to do them, and the one I had was going to be late. Then a couple weeks later I missed the backhaul message and it rated back empty. I felt like an idiot and he treated me like on for a bit too. Early morning on my way to work. Turned into my high school and parked in the student parking lot and started to get out of the car. I was 32. I'm 32 as well, and I still fuck up and use my high school locker combination on my work locker. Then I wonder why it won't open. Yet ask me the combination offhand. I have no idea what it is. I use nail polish remover instead of mouthwash after brushing my teeth. It was awful. You guys ever drink from a straw, then zone out and tilt it like you're drinking straight from the cup and put whatever you're drinking all over yourself? Used my phone flashlight to find my phone. Couple times a year I'll say love you to a business colleague when ending a phone call. My wife gets a kick out of that. I work front desk at a hotel. The daytime staff work either 7 AM to 3 PM or 3 PM to 11 PM. Sometimes when I'm working the PM shift I'll accidentally say night night instead of goodbye when I go to hang up the phone. It's an uncomfortably intimate thing to accidentally say to a stranger on the phone. It's even worse if I know the guest was in a different time zone, so it's not even nighttime where they are. I walked outside and saw a dove. I proceed to go hi cat. I enter my vehicle thinking about how stupid that was and arrive at my so's house. She enters the vehicle and my mouth moves before my brain does, and out comes hi cat. My nephew has one of those big iPads and takes notes with a stylus. If you tap the stylus, it undoes the last writing. Now when he makes a mistake in pencil, he taps the pencil. Squirted Gorilla Glue up my nose thinking it was nasal spray. Middle of the night, it was dark. The bottles are the same shape and size. It was not pleasant. No, not pleasant at all. I was fishing around in my purse for some eye drops because my contacts were feeling gross. I was in my car and it was dark, so I didn't bother to look at it before squeezing it into my eye. I had just enough time to think I don't remember my eye drops smelling like Fruit Loops before the burning began, and I realized that I had just doused my eyeball in vape juice. After a fight with a family member, I was so angry that I walked away blindly and missed the large doorway, ramming full speed into the wall. Luckily they found it so funny that it diffused the argument. Put the coffee where the water should go, then put water in the pot itself and turn the machine on. Pro tip, you can't really smell burnt coffee. Another time I woke up staring at my front door from the outside in my boxers at 7 in the morning without the key. Still don't have a clear picture on what happened and how. I was living alone as well. Can't blame but my own stupidity for this one. Spent like 1 minute trying to force my key into the front door until I realized I was at the wrong floor. Put sugar in the ashtray and my cigarette in my coffee. Throw the egg and keep the shell. I take my pants off as soon as I get home from work. My husband had his friend over, and as soon as I walked in I started talking and took my pants off without thinking right in front of the friend. I only realized something was wrong when the friend looked at me and quickly turned away. I see this more as setting a precedent. If he tells all of his friends then it won't be a surprise and you'll never have to wear pants in your own home ever again. My dad did this. Now he just takes his pants off after dinner at dinner parties.